In the vast, interconnected shadows of the global economy, power isn't always loud. It doesn't build headline-grabbing electric cars, launch orbital rockets into the atmosphere, or host eccentric, high-energy press conferences. Sometimes, real power is completely silent. It listens, it observes, it seamlessly connects billions of human lives every single second of every day, without ever making a sound. This is Shenzhen, China, once a quiet, foggy fishing village, now transformed into the neon-lit, hyper-technological hardware capital of the entire planet. Standing quietly at the absolute epicenter of this digital fortress is a man who actively, compulsively avoids the world stage. Ma Huateng, known simply across the tech world as Pony Ma. He rarely gives television interviews. He aggressively shuns public speaking. Yet, his creation, Tencent, controls the invisible daily rhythm of over 1.2 billion people. From massive social messaging networks and global gaming empires to ubiquitous digital payments and state-integrated surveillance systems, Tencent is the master architect of modern Chinese society. How did an introverted, socially reserved programmer build a trillion-dollar empire from the shadows? Who is the real man behind the corporate curtain? Welcome to the Dark Archive. To understand the sheer scale of this empire, you must first understand the mind of the engineer. Born in 1971 in Hainan province, Pony Ma was a quiet, intensely reserved child who developed an early obsession with astronomy. He would spend endless, silent nights staring at the distant stars through his personal telescope, looking for pattern, logic, and order in vast, silent cosmic systems. But as the turbulent 1990s arrived, his fascination shifted from the infinite cosmos to the glowing green text of early computer monitors. In the late autumn of 1998, inside a cramped, suffocatingly hot office space in Shenzhen, Pony Ma and 4 of his university friends officially founded Tencent. They had no massive venture capital backing. They had no grand, world-conquering manifestos. What they possessed was a pure, relentless obsession with software engineering and systems architecture. At the time, an Israeli company called Mirabilis had created OICQ, the world's very first global instant messaging platform. Pony Ma quickly analyzed the software and realized OICQ suffered from a fatal flaw. It was completely blind to the reality of China. It was entirely in English, poorly translated, and far too resource-heavy for China's primitive, slow dial-up internet cafes. So, Tencent did what it would later become legendary for. They reverse-engineered it. They built OICQ, a platform later rebranded under the iconic name QQ. It was lightweight, lightning fast, and custom-engineered specifically for the constrained, localized Chinese market. When QQ officially launched to the public, the response was immediate. User numbers didn't just grow, they exploded exponentially across every major Chinese city. But in the brutal, unforgiving world of early consumer technology, massive hypergrowth without a clear monetization plan is nothing more than a slow death sentence. Server infrastructure costs skyrocketed overnight. Bandwidth bills were rapidly draining Tencent's meager bank accounts to absolute zero. Pony Ma was standing directly on the precipice of total financial collapse. To keep the fragile platform alive during those desperate, chaotic early months, Pony Ma resorted to extreme, unthinkable measures. To make empty ghost town chat rooms appear lively and active to new users, Ma created dozens of fake female profiles. He spent grueling late nights personally chatting with unsuspecting strangers, pretending to be a young girl just to keep people engaged on the network. He was fighting for every single active user, pixel by pixel. Yet, bankruptcy was still pounding violently on the door. Desperate for immediate cash flow, Pony Ma attempted to sell the entire QQ platform to local telecom operators for a mere $60,000. Every single potential buyer turned him down cold. They saw absolutely no commercial value in a free chatting tool used by penniless teenagers. Little did those short-sighted buyers know, they had just rejected the master keys to the most lucrative social ecosystem in Asian history. So how did Tencent survive the brink of financial extinction? By mastering the complex nuances of human psychology long before Silicon Valley ever understood it. While Western tech giants relied heavily on obnoxious display banner ads, Tencent introduced a radical new business model, the freemium economy. They allowed everyone to use QQ completely free of charge, but began charging users tiny micropennies for digital self-expression, virtual designer clothing, custom animated avatars, glowing colorful usernames, and exclusive digital showpieces. In a rapidly modernizing, hyper-competitive China, a whole new generation of young citizens was desperate for personal identity and social status. QQ became their digital skin. Millions of users happily spent small microtransactions just to stand out in a crowded virtual room. The cash floodgates opened wide. The economic engine of Tencent was officially ignited. Observing this hidden, explosive potential, South African media giant Naspers stepped out of the shadows in 2001, purchasing a 32% stake in Tencent. It would go on to become single-handedly one of the most profitable venture capital investments in all of human history. QQ made Pony Ma dangerously, unimaginably rich, but as Tencent expanded its reach, it simultaneously developed a dark, ruthless reputation. In the global tech industry, Tencent became feared by a single, cold, clinical moniker, the copycat. Pony Ma's core competitive strategy was calculated and utterly merciless. Instead of burning capital to invent brand new concepts, Tencent closely monitored the market. They waited patiently for small, innovative startups to prove a viable business model, and then copied their core products with surgical precision. By leveraging their massive, unbeatable QQ user distribution network, they systematically crushed the original creators completely out of existence. If you tried to fight Tencent, you died. If you merged with them, you surrendered your corporate autonomy. By the late 2000s, Tencent effectively controlled every desktop screen in mainland China. However, a massive existential threat was silently approaching from across the Pacific Ocean. Silicon Valley's ultimate titan, Microsoft, was officially bringing MSN Messenger to China, fully prepared to wipe QQ completely off the digital map. In our next episode, the brutal, scorched earth war for China's internet ecosystem, and how a quiet, introverted programmer systematically dismantled the world's most powerful software company. Subscribe now and step inside the dark archive.